Now, I forgot to mention that I do already have a sandwich bread video on my channel, but I'm going to make this one a little bit different. So I'll show you as quickly as I can the recipe. I'm going to use a little bit of milk, a little bit of egg, make it just a little bit richer to hold up better to the sausage and the cheese and to give it more flavor. So let me turn that camera around and get my ingredients together and get more prepared. And please don't look at my hair because I'm a mess today. I'm sorry, it's a little bit dark in this corner. That's where I keep my mixer, but I wanted to show you, this is the yeast I've been using. And I have just a little bit left in this jar, but I keep it in the freezer, and I'm not gonna pour the new in until I use all the old. But it lasts in the freezer for a long time. I think I've been having it for about a year, maybe a little less. I'm not really sure. I should write the date down next time, but yeah, keep it in the freezer. Just a little tip. What I'm doing to start with, I have a cup of water, and I put like a third cup of milk, and I mixed it in here with a tablespoon of sugar, and I put 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, and my teaspoons seem to be a little bit big. I think that's why sometimes I get holes in my bread, because I'm impatient with the yeast. But as you can see, it's very foamy. It looks very good. So the next thing I'm going to do is move over to the mixer, and I like to use I don't know if you can see it, a combination of all-purpose flour and bread flour. And I like to put a little bit of sugar, salt, and that's about it. So let's get started. Sometimes I do it the dry first, sometimes I do the liquid first. I change it up. But I'm first going to add about 3 tablespoons of sugar. And this is the bread flour, and it happens to be King Arthur bread flour. So I'm going to add, and I just kind of shake it off like this. I don't use a knife to measure it, which I probably should. And I'm just going to use 1.5 cups of this bread flour. Oh, and I forgot to say, I also like to add a little bit of oil along with a little bit of butter. So there's 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm sure we're going to need more because I have more liquid. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. Kosher salt. It's actually kosher salt mixed with pink Himalayan salt. I love that combination. We're going to just take our yeast mixture and dump that in. I just kind of wanted to give you a rundown of the ingredients. And the 2 tablespoons of butter and the 1 egg. And then I'm going to add just a couple tablespoons of olive oil, a good olive oil. So let me get started mixing, and then I'll show you the next step. See, it's pretty wet. That's because I don't usually add an egg to my loaf of bread. So I'm just going to go ahead and add about 3/4 cup of flour, bread flour. I have better luck with bread flour. But all-purpose makes it just a little bit more tender. Once I get this together, I'm going to knead it for about 4 or 5 minutes. And then I heated my oven to like 120 degrees. Then I turned it off to make the bread rise a little bit faster, because the temperature in my house right now is 71. It's not really warm enough for bread to rise. So I'm just going to keep mixing, and I'll get that for about 5 minutes. And it's still a little bit sticky, but I left it a little bit sticky because I'm going to put a little oil on my hands and rub it around my bowl. Let me let you look at it inside the bowl, because I have a tendency to add too much flour sometimes. And I think if you leave it on the sticky side, it just comes out a little bit better. And you're always going to lay flour down when you roll it out. So let me get I forgot I got my dough scraper. I always forget about this thing. And I'll tell you what, it does make it a lot easier. See, it's pretty sticky. And you can always just buy a bread of the frozen loaves. I just wanted to try to make it myself and share it with you. And see how it comes out. You can add whatever filling you want, really. Okay, that's about... I did add a little bit more flour as I went, but I had to stop myself. So let me just... Yeah, it's pretty soft. But I think that's going to be okay. We're just going to put it in here. I'm going to put it in my slightly warm oven, not too warm. And I'm going to let it rise for probably 45 minutes to an hour. And then I'll bring you back so we can cook the filling, because we want it to cool off before the bread rises. Okay, this is what I'm going to use. You can buy the hot, regular. I was going to put some smoked sausage in there, but I'm going to save that for another recipe that I'm going to film tomorrow. So I'm just going to dump this in. And I have my favorite wooden spoon. I'm going to just really break it up so we can spread it out on that dough. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to roll it up into a loaf or cut it up yet, but I'll let you know as we go along. So let me get the pot heated, and I have my vegetables cut from the fajitas yesterday, so I'm ready to go. I have my sausage cooking at a pretty hot flame, but I went ahead and put these in the food processor just so they'll be easier to manage and cook quicker. And I'm not going to use all of them. I'm going to save some for a recipe for tomorrow. I like to have my stuff chopped in advance. It makes the recipes go a lot easier. And of course, you know how I love my garlic. I'm going to have to fill it back up after today because I'm using all of this. And I also keep minced garlic in the refrigerator. I prefer fresh. Like, I like a lot of garlic. Like this, I need a bigger bowl. You see this? Something's wrong with me. So I'm going to add a little Cajun seasoning to this, which is Tony Chachere's. Not too much because I don't want it to be overly salty, because we are going to add cheese. So it looks nice, and it breaks up really easily. I was going to add a jalapeno, but I changed my mind. And I'm going to put the lid on here and let it steam for a second. And then I'll bring you back. This is going well. It smells really, really good. And I decided I'm going to add a few green onions. I think that's going to be a good flavor. And you know, if you didn't like cheese, you don't have to add cheese, but I love cheese. So this is almost done. I'm going to leave the lid off, let it brown just a pinch. And I have about 30 more minutes for my bread to rise, so hopefully this will cool. I'm going to put it in this bowl when it's ready. I'm so excited for this recipe. I've been having this recipe for about 2 months, and I really wanted to try it. But I did want to make my own dough. But I know they sell the dough that's really good at the store. I'm sorry, I'll come back. I'm talking too much. I wanted to come back and show you, add just a touch of smoked paprika. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of parsley. And I think I'm going to add a little black pepper. But I could eat this just with rice. Okay, I believe this is cooked enough, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove off, put this in the bowl that I showed you right here, and let it cool down, and I'll be back. So it's been about an hour, and it rose beautifully. Now it's going to be really soft, so I think I'm going to have to hand knead it just a little bit with a little flour. And I usually, once I do that, we'll see. Let's check it. Yeah. And once I do that, I usually, let's put a little flour on the board. I don't want to make, I'll use this board, but I'll tell you what, these aren't very good because I had to put something under it to keep it from sliding. It's, I really want one of those wooden boards or marble boards, but I haven't purchased one yet. So I'm just gonna knead it just a little bit. Knead it just a tiny bit of flour in it. You don't want too much, but I also want to be able to roll it out. And just get all the bubbles out of it. Sprinkle a little bit more flour. I'm going to put it into another ball. I think that's good to roll out. I'm going to let it rest for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to stuff this. Start rolling this out, and I may have a little bit too much, but I can always cut some out. I didn't weigh it, but it looks it's got a lot of air bubbles in it. Like I said, sometimes I go a little crazy with the yeast, but it's not as sticky. You just got to work with it. And I'm not very good at rolling out shapes. I just do the best I can. And my counters are not quite big enough. I have too much stuff up here. Let's move it around a little bit. I have something under here that's causing a lump, because if I don't put something under here, it will move all over the counter. So I have to put a rubber thing underneath. I'm trying to make a rectangle. When I try to make a circle, I can't. When I try to make a rectangle, usually I can make a rectangle, but I'm having trouble today. But you just take your time, and it should be a relaxing experience for bread baking, I find. And I love just making up doughs as I go along, just seeing what works and what doesn't. But I have a pretty much basic recipe I stick to. I just wanted a little egg in this one. And I don't want it to be too thick, and I can see it is sticking a little under here. But that's okay. I'm just gonna lightly flour it just a tiny bit underneath. Kind of stretch it back with my hands. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, they're your rolls. You can make them any way you want. Okay. I like to do a lot of work with my hands too, because I like to feel it, the thickness and like I said, I have this thing in the middle, which is making it a little difficult. I was going to try to roll it out and give you a measurement, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. And if I have too much dough, I'm going to cut some off, and I might make a hot pocket with it. But like, I only have 1 pound of meat, so. Okay, that looks about right. So, and most people put some butter or whatever. I don't think I'm gonna put that, but I am gonna put something creamy. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm just gonna sprinkle some Velveeta. I like to have a little bit of Velveeta. I find it's just, I know it's not good for you, but it's just so rich and creamy. In some recipes, to me, you just really need to use it. I'm just going to sprinkle it. Oh, and I was going to give you just a little, I have it like a 16 by 18. Just spread this out. Let me take my glasses off. And I have also some fresh grated cheese that I grate in advance. I have some Monterey Jack sharp cheddar and some Colby Jack cheddar. Okay. That's good. I'm going to leave, a little border. And my meat's cooled down to room temperature. I'm just going to spread this out. I just thought maybe making it like cinnamon rolls would be a good appetizer for the Super Bowl or for whatever you have. And you could also make this without meat. You could put beans too. But this is a special kind of sausage. I don't know if beans would really go well with this one. Probably be Let me do this so I don't bore you, and then I'll bring you back. Spread the meat out. And you want to be careful with how much salt you add, because this meat is already seasoned. And that Tony Chachere's does have some salt in it. So you have to be careful with that. It's going to be okay with the dough mixed together, but I don't like to eat things that are too salty. And this is some Monterey Jack that I shredded myself. I think it gives a nice flavor. And now I'm going to use a little bit of the Colby Jack. Oh no, this is a sharp cheddar. I'm sorry. This cheddar is that Tillamook cheddar. That's absolutely my favorite. See how I left a border around here? I'm probably not going to use that. I'm probably going to cut that out. Because I kind of want these to be pretty meaty. Because this is going to be our meal with a vegetable on the side. I just picked my last head of cabbage that I grew myself. I gave the 2 big ones to my father-in-law. Let me show you. This one was actually crushed by a tree from my neighbor's yard, but it ended up growing anyway, and it's so little and cute. Isn't it cute? I want to cook that tonight and eat that on the side. Now I'm going to put just a little bit of more sharp cheddar. I think I labeled my bags wrong. And then that should do it. And I thought about maybe cooking some cabbage and adding it to it, but I thought the moisture would not work well with the dough. Okay, so this is going to be a mess. So I'm just going to try to roll it up. And it is sticky, but that might make it more tender. Yeah, it's pretty sticky. And I'm trying not to lose a bunch of meat. I'm going to fold this over. I don't know if you can see. I'm just going to seal it the best I can. I'm trying not to make it very thick with bread. That's why I rolled it a little bit on the thin side. But these are pretty big. Like I said, you just seal it together. Sometimes you have to add a little water. Okay, I'm going to take this. And this has nothing in it. I'm going to do something else with that piece. See, this one has nothing in it. So let me get my pan. And I'm not worried about making these extremely even, or this is a 13 by 9 pan. My dough doesn't look that good right there. Stretch it just a pinch. This dough is really nice. I hope it comes out. I think it's going to come out really, really well. Pull it just a little bit. Make it a little bit more even. And I usually just kind of start in the center. I'm going to try to keep the meat inside, and then I cut in half again. And again. And then you can make them as big as you want. You can cut these in 2, 3. I think I'm going to try to cut them in 3. Okay. Let's see if I can pick this up without losing everything that I stuffed in here. It's working out pretty well. If something falls out, you can just pick it up and stick it back in. I'm going to wrap these in there pretty tight. Now I'm going to keep doing this and fill in the pan, and then we'll let them rise again. But once I fill them in the pan, I'll show you what it looks like. Here's my pan. They're pretty meaty, which is what I want. Hopefully they're not too heavy. The dough has to rise again. I'm going to let those rise for about 20 minutes. And this is my extra piece of dough. And you know, my daughter loves these Hot Pockets that I make. So I'm just going to make her one. Just stretched it out. And I'm just going to fold it over. And just seal it. Ella, can you give me a... never mind, I'm going to try to fold it like this. I don't know if I can do it. It's not a pie crust, but I'm just going to try to fold it in to seal it and give it a little design. And then you always want to cut a little steam vent, or a couple of them. But I think this dough's going to be nice, hopefully. Ellie, give me that little pan.
Yes, ma'am.
Right there.
Okay.
I just use one of these pans for the extra dough because I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to put that in there. And we'll let these rise. And wish me luck. I think they're going to be delicious. Inside my oven. Sorry if it's not perfectly clean. But you can see they're rising. I only let them rise for 20 minutes because my oven was a little warm. And here is the little hot pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on. They'll rise a little bit more. I'm going to bake them at 350, probably for about 25 minutes. So I'll show you what they look like when they're done. And you could brush them with an egg wash, but I'm not going to oven. And before I took them out, I added some of the grated cheese that you bought or you grated from the store. I needed to use it up, so I used a little bit. These baked for about 45 minutes, and I topped them with a little green onions. But I'm going to let them cool a little bit, and then we'll cut one open and see what it looks like. Okay, here's they're not cinnamon rolls, but that's what I want to call them. But I'm going to call them Cajun stuffed rolls. You can also do this as a loaf of bread. I'm just going to cut it open. It's still a little hot. Just pull it with my fingers. But that meat has such a good flavor, and the dough is really nice and soft and fluffy. I really like this recipe. I kind of made it up as I went along. But this is kind of hot. Let me try it. Too big of a bite. I would eat that again. That's really good. And I like, cheese. They have a lot of flavor. That sausage is a really good sausage, in my opinion. I really like it. Next time, I'm going to try to make the whole loaf. But anyway, I don't want to choke your head off. Please give these a try. They're really good. The dough came out excellent. I'm very happy with it. Thank you so much for watching and coming along with me for this new recipe. And please subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.